Hi, I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I'm executive producer of Black Patriots on History. Black Patriots is about the efforts and all of the actions of Black Americans that contributed to the success of the Revolutionary War. We would never have been able to win the Revolutionary War if it were not for the contributions of African Americans and Native Americans. And that wasn't always something that was pointed out in the history books that I had to deal with in the 50s and 60s. I think the Revolutionary War period is important because it is the emergence of America. White Americans wanted freedom from the British government. Black Americans wanted freedom from white Americans and the ability to live their own lives without having to be enslaved. We all had the same idea of what we wanted, but the form that took depended on what camp that you sat in. Documentary will focus on people like Crispus Attucks, Phyllis Wheatley, James Armistead Lafayette, Mumbet, and other people who made it impossible for us to forget that Black Americans were a significant aspect of the effort that ended up in the creation of the United States of America. You can't ignore that, yet it doesn't get the attention in history books that it should get. And again, we have the rationale that we don't want to make Black people feel too crucial in the effort to establish the United States, because then it really points to the irony of how Black Americans were treated after the Revolutionary War ended. I was a history major when I attended UCLA, so I've always been interested in history, and just finding out so many issues and incidents that I should have been taught in elementary school. Our contributions are marginalized. Why is it that if Black people were so crucial in contributing to what makes America great and the establishment of the country, why have they been treated so poorly in all aspects of life? This is a very valid question, and it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. I had to figure out the why. I was motivated. I was 8 years old when Emmett Till was murdered. And I asked my parents, what was that all about? It was horrible, and I couldn't understand it. And my parents really didn't have the words to get into what it was all about. My parents didn't have that. Finally, I was 13 years old, and I read The Fire Next Time. And that enabled me to really get an understanding, and I will forever be in debt to James Baldwin for his brilliant and courageous writing. It really enabled me to get a grip on it and proceed to educate myself and figure out how to change things. I wrote it really so that Black kids could understand that this is their country and they need to qualify themselves to make it a better place. And they can do that because knowledge is power. And once they have this knowledge, they have the power to change things.
Fellow citizens, pardon me and allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak here today? What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? And am I, therefore, called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess the benefits and express devout gratitude for the blessings resulting from your independence to us? I am not included within the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. to drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today? What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days of the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is a constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty, an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There's not a nation of the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed. Oh, had I the ability and could reach the nation's ear, I would today pour forth a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed, and the crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced.